tattoo artists. What's the worst tattoo someone has asked you to do that you've refused? I once refused to tattoo a girl and her father complained to me by yelling at me from about 2 feet away. She was 14. Legal age where I live is 18. And she wanted her boyfriend's name above her eye. She was willing to compromise to her hand though. Bet her dad was the boyfriend. A sad one was we once had an older lady come in who was completely high on some sort of opiate drunk as frick asking to get her new boyfriend's name tattooed on her. She was standing with her eyes shut swaying back and forth rambling about how she had to get new guy's name on her because he didn't like that her ex-husband's name was on her but that she didn't really want to get the tattoo but the new guy was insisting she did because he was really angry about it. She said he was outside waiting and when I looked up he was standing with his arms crossed glaring at her through the window. That was a hard pass. Looked like a really awful situation for the woman. She did not seem in a good place. I know it's too late now and I wasn't there but I feel like she might have needed help. Once I was waiting at a shop and a family came in because their teenage son wanted a Hatchet Man tattoo. My artist begrudgingly agreed to do the ink and sent them back to get ready. He walks over to me and tells me how much this kid is going to regret this stupid tattoo and he normally has morals about what he will put onto people. But he really needed the money and the whole family was excited about his first tattoo. While the kid was getting his future regrets permanently applied, the dad was super excited to show me his dong that hangs below his knee. He rolls up his pant leg to reveal a huge full color tattoo of a rooster hanging from a noose, positioned below his knee. That takes dad jokes to a whole new level. Once a young kid 21 came in and wanted Shrek around his dong and balls, not on it. It would look like Shrek was opening his mouth and his junk came out. That was the easiest no I've ever given. I bet his sex life is all Logan now. It was much earlier in my career when I worked at a shop outside the city and closer to countryside. Got a request for a deer holding a hunting rifle with a tribal style cross in the background. Icing on the cake is he wanted the deer to be silhouetted, not with your typical black but with the Confederate flag pattern and colors. Have a vague memory of barbed wire somehow being in the mix. Sounds like a shirt you'd see at Walmart. My now ex-husband wanted his name on my body because I have yours on mine. The artist came to my house, small town, and we discussed it at length. I wanted ink but didn't want a brand so he did the letters small, on my shoulder past the brass strapline, and in pink. My ex wasn't happy about it so the guy said it looks feminine. Years later and it looks like a weird birthmark. Pink fades within 10 years. Thank you tattoo guy. Side note, my ex covered my name up with black. Just black. No cool design or anything. A tattoo of Deadpool. Tattooing Deadpool on butt of yet another Deadpool. To recap, that's 3 realistic Deadpools in one tattoo he wanted on his tiny arm. I have a friend who's a tattoo artist. Once had a woman come into his shop and ask for a full-sized ruler tattooed on her inner thigh because she was tired of guys lying to her. Another guy wanted his dong to have an elephant trunk tattoo with matching elephant ears on each thigh. Buddy told him I'm sure you can get it done but I'm not freaking doing it. This dude proceeds to ask every artist in the shop only to be turned down and sent out to look for another shop. For real though, the ruler is kinda genius. Obligatory not a tattoo artist but I asked this of mine. He says he once had a guy want a tattoo under his thumbnail, like he was gonna rip the nail off, then come into the studio so he could get a tattoo that would eventually be protected by a new thumbnail. That is the combination of genius and idiocy. I just can't decide in what proportion. Wasn't me but when I got my first tattoo I asked what was the worst they'd done. Turns out a girl came in drunk and got "frick me" here in huge letters on her stomach with the arrow pointing down to her crotch. This was in Mallorca for anyone wondering. Maybe she just wanted to be fricked in Mallorca. When people want 50 million things in one design they need a dream catcher with Harry Potter symbols, their kids' dates of birth in Roman numerals, plus an infinity symbol feather with bird silhouettes coming off it. Also it needs to be 3 centimeters long and cost £10. I love tattooing dumb crap though. I did a guy's boss's initials under his big toe. Couple of days ago a guy came in for big C only on his ankle. One guy got keep on rolling around his nipple as his first tattoo. Workmen are usually the ones to get weird stuff. Got tons of stories of stuff like that. Here are some more random assortments of crap that's happened the past couple of years. A woman wanting a tattoo of her cat's face, but she doesn't have any references of it with its ears in. So I made up some ears. She's like, that's not my cat's ears. She wants a straight line to end where the cat's forehead is like it's been fricking forehead guillotined. Okay, whatever, she's paying and happy with the design. Halfway through I have a stroke of genius and suggest a flower crown. The weird lobotomy cat is no more. Turning up to work at my old studio, and the boss had paid his brother to plaster the walls. Instead he decided to get plastered and do coke off the toilet. Place is a state and looking like a crack den. My appointment is arriving in 2 hours. So mad rush to clean everything and try and sort the holes in the wall. I didn't stay there much longer. The guy who was getting an arm tattoo but walked round trying to get us to comment on his nipples. Being super creepy and then just not leaving. Like 2 days ago a guy comes in for a girl's name as his first tattoo. After it was done, his mates are all snapchatting it. He tells me he got his ex's name to mess with her, and they were sending it to her. Thought it was weird he was asking me about how easy it'd be to get covered up halfway through doing it. Bunch of workmen came in, youngest guy wants The Apprentice written across his chest. I'm like, what if you get promoted? He just shrugs. Finish it. Sweating my tea off doing a chest tattoo with 7 guys standing round me filming every move, and try to explain to a raucous bunch the aftercare regime. He's not listening at all, but then asks, what happens if it gets infected? I told him then he'll have to get his torso removed. He looked freaked out and I gave him an aftercare form. Sorry, this turned into a novel. I have to get his torso removed. OMG LOL, this reads like a dad joke. I love it. Glad you scared him into taking care of his tattoo. Complications are no joke, and tattoos look 100x better with proper aftercare. As with everyone else not a tattoo artist but ask the guy who does mine. He said he had a World War II fanatic who was a regular and got a lot of battle scene stuff and World War II nostalgia tattoos. The final piece he wanted was a portrait piece on his back of Hitler and Churchill. Tay refused as he didn't want to be associated with tattooing Hitler on someone but said the guy wasn't racist or anything, just a huge World War II buff. It would be dope if Churchill was knocking him out and it's super gross Hitler from Wolfenstein. Told this story before but here goes. Not an artist but this happened about 20 years ago. I remember my friend's sister wanted a tattoo of a scorpion on her pelvic region being that she was a Scorpio. She was immensely afraid of the pain in getting a tattoo so she went and got super drunk before doing so and had her 2 brothers and I go up with her and a friend. The artist knew this and refused to do the tat because of her condition for a number of reasons including legal. She could have sobered up and said she didn't ask for it or was not in her right state of mind. Health. Alcohol causes issues. Quality. The possible extra bleeding and being that drunk people aren't the stillest bunch in the world. The tat would probably come out looking like crap. She makes a big fuss about it saying she knows what she wants. She isn't drunk blah blah. She mentions something about the artist missing his chance to get to see this pee and flashes a gash at him and her brothers and I saw too. This tattoo parlor also had a pool table so she goes and knocks all the balls in the pockets thinking it was a pay table. It wasn't. And mentions something about them having to buy more balls. The 3 people that worked there had a funny yet if she fricks up anything seriously it's a butt look about them. The older brother finally snatches her up and carts her out while she screams something like frick it, I didn't want one anyway on the way to the door along with other vulgarities. The younger brother and I were apologizing to the others there and they were like it's cool, just get her home safe and if she still wants it when she sobers up tell her to come on back. The next day the brothers told her about her actions and how embarrassing it was for all involved and she felt pretty bad about it so she went back, while sober, and apologized and got over her fear and got the scorpion tattoo from them. Not a tat artist but a client. My artists had the sense to realize that I was getting a tattoo of my cheating wife as an angel on my arm because my pet name for her was my little angel. His brother was fricking my wife. His brother had shown him a picture of the girl he was fricking with her loser husband. Jake kept his mouth shut, since he had just tattooed me a couple months before and recognized not just me, but his own very unique artwork on my arm. I went back to him because he was a total G, a great artist, and a good person. He saved me from years of heartache in 2 ways. Be like Jake, who says things like, maybe you should get her as the devil, cause she's doing you dirty. I'll never forget the immediate feeling of he knows something I don't, because it was one of the only times it's ever been correct. I asked my tattoo artist this question and they said a stripper wanted him to tattoo her butthole. He declined without asking what the design was. I mean, that's just a good investment on her part. I'm sure she'd make her money back. It works for Octopussy. Daisler Morgan. A naked woman masturbating with a carrot right to the left of his junk. I think he just wanted me to have to touch his dong. Country girls make do. Worst request I ever got. Extremely drunk college girl came in wanting her EXS name tattooed around her butthole because apparently, and I quote, he was a god at eating butt. Told her to come back sober that I wasn't going to. Next day her friend came in and apologized and gave me $20 for not being a dong. Also part 2. This younger guy came in with a fake id. The girl that used to run our front desk spotted it right away and called me over. I asked what he was wanting done and he proceeded to tell me he wanted a swastika in memory of his dad. Okay, well, shop policy, no racist or gang tats. I explained this and he's cool. He comes back a few days later absolutely crap faced demanding I do this tattoo because he is a customer and I have to take his money if he wants it. I finally get sick of listening to the little crap complain and tell him flat out no. He didn't like that and said he would call his dad. Same dad he said he wanted the memorial tattoo of. We all called him out and he realized he fricked up, sprinted out of the shop and ran right into a parked car and knocked himself out. Ambulance and cops come talk to us then leave. Never saw him again. What a hilarious instance of karma. Not a tattoo artist, but when I was getting my sleeve finished I asked the guy doing mine this and he said a guy came in wanting a tattoo of Trump shooting Obama. That's a yikes from me, dog. One dude asked if I'd do a taint tattoo. I didn't even ask what he wanted. Big ol' no from me, dog. Another funny one we didn't say no to, it just didn't happen for whatever reason, was this dude asking for a caricature of Trump on his butt cheek. Sad days when he no call no showed his appointment. A friend of mine in college was a tattoo artist and he was covered in ink. He was very proud of one tattoo that his boss gave him. A taint tattoo. It was a zipper going from his ballsack to butthole. I did not see that tattoo in person. Not that he didn't offer, but his boss did say he really did that for him. He was a fun guy. Had a woman come in asking for a face tattoo. She wanted my best life on her temple. Jesus ever loving Christ. Normally I will refuse to tattoo someone's face unless they are another tattoo artist or they are already heavily covered in tattoos. She was heavily covered so I okayed it after suggesting several other spots first. Now let me say this lady was freaking weird, rambling about me being her girl and I was gonna make it tight and a whole bunch of other nonsense I was trying to tune out. I'm about 50% sure she was on something, but she signed a waiver claiming she wasn't and I didn't want to be like, hey, are you on drugs or just freaking loony? Anyway, I put the stencil on and she goes to check it out in the mirror. She looks all confused, I can't read it. I remind her that it's backwards because she's looking in a mirror and after taking a minute to ponder that revelation she's like, can I get it backwards so that when I look in the mirror I can read it? Freaking heck. I try politely to point out how absolutely brain dead that is, but she's getting herself all hyped for this idea so I have to straight up just be like, I'm not putting backwards writing on your face. I did tattoo her, but I didn't tattoo illegible nonsense on her face, so hopefully that counts. I've also turned down swastikas and Confederate flags, but those stories aren't as interesting, just run-of-the-mill racists. She just wanted to be able to read it herself. LOL, this was good. The only time I refused to do a tattoo was because this guy was creepy. Everything was off, insistent, trying to lower the price. I don't know. I just didn't want to give him an address at all. I can't explain it. Sometimes I just get a sensation. My whole body tells me no. If you do this, you'll end up in the trunk of a car and I always trust myself, so yeah. No tattoo for the guy that, by the way, claimed his wife was a tattoo artist. If it's true, she'll do it, LOL. Not an artist, but a guy I know was apprenticing at a shop and a female friend of his had him tattoo the Xbox Red Ring of Death around her butthole. Not a tattoo artist, but I witnessed the refusal. When I was getting my second tattoo, a girl I went to high school came in and was wanting to price out one. It was basically one of those poems that are written into a shape, like a drawing made with words. I don't know what they are called. That was pretty intricate looking and she was adamant that she wanted it on her thigh. Tattoo artist tried explaining that with the size they wanted it, the words would be utterly illegible in the best of circumstances, but the girl kept insisting that it would be visible. In the end, the artist said she wasn't going to waste time on something she knew wasn't going to work. After the girl I knew left, she, artist, turned to me and mentioned that it wasn't the first time that girl had come in wanting something ridiculous or impossible and she hated dealing with her because she never took no for an answer. Unrelated to the topic, but I was also there one day when a girl and her dad came in. She had apparently just turned 17 and she wanted a tattoo and dad was along to get one too. The girl wanted Hello Kitty on her upper thigh, with a speech bubble that went above her privates that read "Hi there." She got the tattoo. My artist told me he refused a tattoo a woman who asked for a zipper along her P-lips and a pull tab at the top, so it would look like it was unzipped as though her vag was some sort of grotesque change purse. Rustling sounds. Hold on. I think I have exact change. My dad actually owns a tattoo shop. Ironically he's the only pisser, but anyways, when I was talking to one of the artists, they told me that someone wanted to get George W. Bush on their upper thigh so they could say, "Hey, want to see my bush?" She didn't end up getting it tattooed, but frick, I thought it was hilarious. At least it's not Shrek, but his mouth is her vag. A middle-aged man just came in and asked, "Can you tattoo a tiger on my penis?" and I just responded with, "The door is that way." Anytime I hear someone wants something in the dong region, I feel a little fake pain in that area just reading it. Wasn't a tattoo artist but was getting a tattoo done when this happened. But whilst mine was being done, a shaved-headed man walked in. Typical skinhead attire, but not all skinheads are Nazis, so didn't judge at first. When he asked for a swastika on his forehead in the style of Charles Manson, the tattoo artist wasn't overly pleased with that request and the man was quickly asked to leave. That one was pretty bad. I would do it. If the guy has a big swastika tattooed on his face, he's not going to be able to get an honest job anywhere. People will always know he is trouble and to stay away. There is a man in my town that about 55 and has doodles of colored stick figures all over his face. I call him Cartoon Man. Not to his face, of course. I would blame a tattoo artist, but I hear it was an at-home job, much like the woman I saw with her name backwards badly tattooed to her chest, likely because she did it looking in a mirror. I love our local Walmart. There's always something to see. Not a tattoo artist, but I read that some woman once asked a tattoo artist to tattoo 2 lightning bolts on her. They were supposed to be next to each other and it would resemble SS. The tattoo artist said no. Then the woman asked would he be okay to do it, but if they were blue. The answer was also no. Not a tattoo artist. I was a corrections officer years back. There was an inmate who wanted a giant back tattoo of an eagle with its wings soaring. His then cellmate had a makeshift tattoo gun and worked on the piece for him. As soon as the tattoo was over with, the artist inmate told the COs that the inmate had made threats to kill him and was removed from the section completely. That artist inmate had just a little bit of time left in his sentence, so he wanted to get out of there. The tattooed inmate was there for the long haul. The majestic bald eagle turned out to be a flaccid penis with wings. Had someone asked me if I'd tattoo a relative of theirs who had just recently passed away, because there were a lot of tattoos the person wanted but never got the chance to get. Hard pass. Don't think I'll ever want to tattoo a corpse, but I did learn, at least the state I was in, that there is a small grey area where it's legal under the right conditions. Basically, I'd need to be a surgeon and perform the tattoo in the morgue. Holy crap. Not an artist, but last time I was in a tattoo shop getting a piercing done, there was an old man getting a tattoo done on his head. He had wispy hairs on top of his head. It was a stick figure pushing a lawnmower across his bald spot. Personally, if I were the artist, I wouldn't have done it. But then again, the artist who was doing that tattoo is famous in my area for tattooing something he calls a T-Rex, which is basically a green penis with T-Rex features. So I think if someone is at a certain age and they want a funny or obscure tattoo in an odd place, say the neck or the top of their head, just let them. They are old enough to know what they want. This will probably get buried, and I'm not a tattoo artist, but my second wife did have CM Dumpster tattooed on her butt. Weirdly, that didn't turn out to be a great relationship. Holy crap, talk about a red flag. Honestly though, that's actually really sad. Not a tattoo artist, but this happened to me. I went to a shop and wanted to get a flower on my neck. Talked to the artist and he talked me out of getting it on my neck. He said it was a job killer and he won't do necks or hands on anyone who isn't covered in tattoos. I asked him where he thought would be a good spot for it, and he suggested my lower arm by my elbow. I gotta say, I'm really grateful he didn't let me get a neck tattoo. If you pass by the shop, go in and let him know. I was told no once. I was on vacation in Amsterdam and had fallen down a flight of stairs and had a massive purple and black bruise on the backside of my arm. That day I got wine drunk on a bench and a big fat pigeon sat on the bench with me all day, so I wanted to get a fat pigeon tattoo on the bruise. The guy refused to do it there but was really hyped to do it on my other arm. He said he was gonna put it in his portfolio and he was a really awesome guy. Peter at Port of Call does really great work. Highly recommend him. My cousin is a tattoo artist and one guy wanted the original Halo symbol for legendary difficulty tattooed across his entire back. Guy wasn't even a former pro. He just really liked Halo. She couldn't convince him to go with a different design but was able to convince him to downsize it slightly to his shoulder. The Halo legendary icon is pretty badassimo. Guy in a local band who wore black and white makeup on stage came in and wanted the outlines of his makeup tattooed on his face so he could simply color it in before he went on stage. He was declined. My tattooist loves a dumb tattoo though, so long as it's not political, creepy or racist. I got the Your Name tattooed on my butt and he did it for free because he thought it was funny. Had it 11 years and not once regretted it. My former artist got asked by a guy if he would tattoo a dong. He said for an extra £500 on top of the cost. Then yes. Guy ducked out of that one. I then proceeded to ask him if he would tattoo my dong. Thinking I was being funny, his response destroyed me. I can't do tattoos that small. Oh, I couldn't see it behind the needle. Obligatory not a tattoo artist, but I talked to one once. I asked them what their weirdest client had asked for, and they told me about the time an old guy, probably like 48 or something, wanted a tattoo of a random little girl on his chest. This girl wasn't even his daughter or grandchild. It was just a random picture of a little girl he'd seen on Facebook. That's super creepy. A flag on his butt cheeks. It was split in two vertically. On one half the Confederate flag, battle flag, and the other half the Nazi flag. He wanted Donald Trump's face superimposed on top with his open mouth placed where the man's chocolate starfish opened. I went to go get a tattoo. The guy who went before me was blacked out drunk and clearly high. He asked for, and I quote, an infinity gauntlet made out of spaghetti with meatball infinity stones. He even had a drawing of the gauntlet, made of spaghetti, with meatball infinity stones. Wish I had that idea instead of the tattoo I got. It looked really dope when it was done. I saw him at a Publix a few months later. He'd gotten Spider-Man tattooed next to it being dusted, but it was pasta noodles instead of dust. Not really the worst tattoo, in my opinion. If you have a picture of this tattoo to share, that would make my night. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.